He was a billionaire, arrogant and entitled, used to mocking anyone who dared challenge his world. And when a black maid in his mansion said she could dance the waltz, his laughter echoed through the halls. But what happened next would stun everyone, destroy reputations, and change lives forever. This is a story of talent, courage, and a twist no one saw coming. It started on a humid Saturday afternoon. Celeste Johnson, 23, had been working in the mansion of billionaire Richard Kensington for 3 years. She knew the house inside out. The creak of the marble stairs, the exact tone of the grandfather clock in the hall, the way the chandelier reflected sunlight at exactly 3:17 p.m. But no amount of knowledge could prepare her for the moment she was about to face. Kensington, holding a glass of champagne, leaned against the balustrade and smirked at his son Derek, a man known for being equally arrogant. "Derek," he said, "I've seen you fumble through every dance your whole life. My son deserves a partner who can keep up. If anyone can dance the waltz with him, you know what that means." Derek rolled his eyes. "Father, I don't." Kensington interrupted, pointing directly at Celeste, who was dusting a nearby table. If you can dance the waltz with my son without stepping on his toes, you'll marry him. But I don't expect you to even try." The audacity of a maid thinking she could match him. The room erupted in laughter. Servants exchanged nervous glances. Celeste's hands trembled, not with fear, but with anticipation. Inside, she felt a spark she had buried for years. She was trained in competitive ballroom dancing since age 8, a secret she never dared reveal outside her own community. The first inconsistency appeared immediately. Derek, who claimed to be a waltz prodigy, stumbled and miscounted the rhythm almost instantly. Kensington laughed but noticed Celeste's poised stance, her footwork flawless, almost military in precision. Neighbors and guests whispered, "She's just a maid, she can't." But Celeste's grace was undeniable. As the music played, she led Derek through complex spins, precise foot placements, and elegant posture. Every movement left the audience, wealthy socialites, business magnates, even Kensington's staff, stunned. It wasn't just skill. It was confidence, charm, and the quiet defiance of someone who knew their worth in a world that tried to diminish them. Kensington's laughter turned sharp. "Stop this nonsense," he barked. "You'll ruin my son's reputation." But Derek was mesmerized. For the first time in his life, someone, not a guest, not a socialite, was dancing with him flawlessly. Celeste moved with authority, leading him effortlessly through turns he had never mastered. Tension built like an unseen storm. The music swelled, and Celeste's secret talent shone through, leaving Derek flustered and embarrassed. Kensington's smirk faltered. He noticed subtle things he hadn't expected. Derek's footing wasn't perfect. Celeste corrected every misstep without breaking rhythm. Guests were whispering, secretly applauding Celeste's skill. Celeste's posture was flawless, exuding confidence and elegance. It became clear, this wasn't just a maid performing a dance. This was a young woman revealing a hidden power that challenged the very hierarchy of wealth and entitlement in the room. Just when Kensington thought he could regain control, Celeste did something unexpected. With one smooth motion, she twirled Derek into a flawless lift, completing a difficult sequence she had practiced for years. The audience gasped. Then she whispered, so only Derek could hear, "If you step on my toes now, you'll regret it." Derek froze, realizing for the first time that his father's power and wealth meant nothing compared to skill, confidence, and authenticity. The tables had turned. The audience erupted in applause, and Kensington's face went red, not just from embarrassment, but because he had underestimated someone society told him was less than. Celeste Johnson had won the waltz, humiliated a billionaire in front of his social circle, and revealed a talent no one thought she possessed. But little did she know, victory was just the beginning. The real danger wasn't on the dance floor. It was in the mind of a man used to controlling everything in his world. Richard Kensington paced his study, champagne untouched, staring at the grand ballroom where Celeste had danced. His pride and ego had been wounded in front of hundreds of witnesses, and he wasn't used to being challenged. He called his lawyer, private investigators, and even former business rivals. "I don't care what it takes," he barked. "She humiliated us. Find out everything about her, her family, her finances, her secrets. She thinks she can dance her way into my son's life. I will make sure she regrets it. Meanwhile, Celeste tried to focus on her work, but strange things began happening in the mansion. Her personal belongings were moved. She noticed cameras she hadn't seen before. Emails she didn't send appeared in the household system. Curious and cautious, Celeste accessed a hidden laptop in the mansion's office, one she had discovered while dusting. Her fingers trembled as she typed the login. Files opened. Secret financial accounts. Shadowy business deals linked to Kensington's shell companies. Legal documents showing control over properties, charities, and organizations no one knew about. Celeste realized a man who humiliated her also wielded enormous power, influence, and reach, and that dancing with him had just put her directly in the eye of a storm. That evening, as she returned from the ballroom, Celeste noticed a black SUV parked unusually close to the gate. Two men stepped out, wearing dark suits, faces obscured by shadows. Celeste's instincts screamed danger. She ran, using secret staircases and service corridors she had memorized. The men followed, but she disappeared before they could reach her. Voiceover. Celeste had danced with grace and poise, but now she had to use wit and speed to survive in a mansion that had just turned into a trap. Every step she had taken as a maid was suddenly the difference between life and danger. While hiding, Celeste stumbled upon old letters and documents in a locked drawer, letters written decades ago by Kensington's late wife. They revealed a shocking twist. Kensington had a history of attempting to suppress talented black women in the family's community outreach programs. One of Celeste's ancestors had once been employed by the Kensington family, possessing knowledge that could threaten their current empire. Celeste realized her dance was more than a challenge. It had awakened an old vendetta rooted in prejudice, wealth, and long-held secrets. The lesson emerged clearly. True courage isn't only about winning in front of an audience. Sometimes, it's about uncovering hidden truths, standing up against systems designed to suppress, and using intelligence and skill to navigate a world stacked against you. Celeste's talent was just the beginning. Her survival now depended on awareness, strategy, and determination. Celeste Johnson had won the WALTZ, uncovered secrets, and survived a near attack, but the mansion she thought she knew had transformed into a battlefield. Every hallway held a shadow, every door hid a threat, and the man she had humiliated was watching, calculating, and ready to strike back. Richard Kensington didn't take defeat lightly. Enraged and humiliated, he hired private operatives skilled in intimidation and surveillance. He wanted to crush Celeste, not physically, but by ruining her reputation and making her regret her audacity. That night, one of his operatives infiltrated the mansion, replacing ordinary servants with loyal insiders. Their goal: monitor Celeste, sabotage her work, and find a way to discredit her in front of the social elite. Celeste noticed small inconsistencies. Objects moved slightly out of place. Conversations she overheard were unusually rehearsed. Her private notes were missing, then returned with subtle edits. Using her keen observational skills, she set traps, leaving decoy notes and tracking movements. Soon, she identified the infiltrators, two of Kensington's trusted aides who had been replaced by the operatives. Voiceover. Celeste realized her dance had not just challenged the billionaire's ego. It had triggered a full-scale operation to monitor, intimidate, and undermine her. But she was no ordinary maid. She was smart, fast, and ready to turn the tables. Just as she thought she had control, someone she trusted appeared, Derek Kensington. He approached her with an innocent smile. "I want to apologize for my father's behavior," he said. "I don't agree with him." "Let me help you." Celeste hesitated, but decided to trust him partially. Together, they reviewed Kensington's secret files and noticed an alarming pattern. Derek had quietly been manipulating certain mansion staff, placing loyalists in strategic positions. Some files hinted that Derek was preparing to inherit full control of the estate, and his father's humiliation could jeopardize his plans. Derek seemed helpful, but Celeste sensed something off. Trusting the son could be as dangerous as facing the father, because sometimes betrayal comes wrapped in a familiar face. As Celeste dug deeper into Kensington's past files, she uncovered a shocking revelation. Kensington's fortune was partly built on exploiting talented individuals in the arts, particularly dancers, musicians, and performers from marginalized communities. A mysterious trust fund had been set up decades ago, meant to silence anyone who revealed these exploitations. One of the documents explicitly referenced Celeste's family lineage, connecting her ancestry to a dancer who had once exposed Kensington's early corrupt schemes. Celeste Waltz was not just a dance challenge. It had awakened a generational vendetta. The billionaire's fury was rooted in history, and now she was caught in the middle. Celeste Johnson had uncovered decades of secrets, faced betrayal, and survived intimidation. But the billionaire she humiliated wasn't done. Richard Kensington had wealth, influence, and a reputation for controlling everyone around him. And now, he was moving from manipulation to direct action. Kensington called his operatives for a late-night meeting. "She's learned too much," he said, pacing the study. "This isn't about a dance anymore. We need to neutralize her influence, discredit her, and protect the family's reputation." He planned, spread rumors to ruin Celeste's credibility in high society, plant false evidence suggesting she had stolen from a mansion, force Derek to publicly sever any association with her. Celeste, realizing the threat was imminent, called on her secret training in investigation and strategy. She used the mansion's security cameras and hidden corridors to monitor intruders. She also reached out to an ally she had met outside the mansion, Monique Harper, a former ballroom competitor and investigative journalist who had once documented injustices in wealthy families. Together, they began gathering evidence of Kensington's manipulation and corruption, using encrypted communication and hidden drives. Kensington sent 2 operatives into the mansion to intimidate Celeste. They cornered her in the ballroom at the stroke of midnight. Voiceover. Celeste had danced with royalty, billionaires, and crowds, but this was performance where the stakes were life and death. Every move counted. Using her agility and strategic thinking, Celeste outmaneuvered the intruders, leading them into a mirrored corridor. The confusion caused by reflections allowed her to escape, leaving the operatives trapped momentarily until security intervened. Derek Kensington, who had seemed like a potential ally, revealed his hand. "I can't let my father's empire collapse," he said coldly. "You embarrassed him, and now you threaten everything I've been raised to protect. I'm sorry, Celeste, but this ends tonight." The son, one seeming to support her, had aligned with the power and legacy of wealth and pride, showing that sometimes betrayal comes wrapped in familiarity. Celeste realized she could not rely on Derek. Her survival depended solely on wit, preparation, and unexpected allies. Celeste Johnson had danced flawlessly, survived betrayal, uncovered dark family secrets, and dodged deadly threats. But now, the billionaire she humiliated was cornered, and the game had changed. Every move would be critical, every decision life-altering. Using evidence she collected with Monique Harper, Celeste prepared a live-streamed reveal. Kensington's secret financial accounts, manipulation of staff, and social circles to maintain control. Documents showing his family's history of suppressing talented black artists and performers. Derek's secret alignment with his father's schemes. She also coordinated with investigative journalists and law enforcement, ensuring the live stream would reach hundreds of thousands instantly, leaving no room for the Kensington, realizing he was being exposed, stormed into the ballroom, flanked by private security. "You think a maid can ruin me?" he shouted, rage echoing against the chandeliers. Celeste stood firm. "I don't think I know. Your empire thrives on silencing talent, exploiting people, and hiding your misdeeds. Tonight, everyone will see the truth." Security officers, previously coordinated by Celeste's allies, entered simultaneously, surrounding Kensington and his men. The billionaire's fury turned to disbelief as cameras captured everything. Derek stepped forward, seemingly conflicted. "Father, you went too far this time." Voiceover. The son, once a symbol of inherited power and privilege, finally recognized that loyalty to the truth outweighed loyalty to wealth. His defiance marked the beginning of Kensington's collapse. Kensington was cuffed, evidence confiscated, and his reputation shattered. Legal authorities moved quickly to seize assets linked to exploitation and corruption. Kensington faced criminal charges, lawsuits, and public disgrace. Derek, now estranged from his father, began rebuilding the family's foundation with transparency. Celeste Johnson became a symbol of talent, resilience, and courage, receiving public acclaim and opportunities to mentor young dancers. Monique Harper published a feature on the story, bringing awareness to systemic exploitation in wealthy circles. From hand-picked steps in a mansion ballroom to dismantling an empire of corruption, Celeste's story proved that talent combined with courage and intelligence can challenge the most powerful, even when they think they are untouchable. Even in victory, a note arrived for Celeste, signed with a single emblem. The world is full of those who hide in shadows. Keep dancing. Your fight is far from over. Justice has been served. But Celeste knew this was just the beginning. Talent, courage, and resilience were her armor, and the world was watching. What would happen next? Only time would tell. Subscribe for more interesting and powerful stories.